Um, Thank you. It will be an interesting conversation because normally we talk in Russian. So today is a pure experiment and we'll see how it goes. And our idea was to talk a little bit about relations. And maybe we will start by introducing ourselves through our relation to relations, if I may say so. And I'll start with myself. So my name is Masha Tsilunova. And I'm relating to relations in several contexts. So first, I'm exploring relationships in business context because I'm doing a leadership course, which is rather exploratory and called Creating Leading. I'm also doing a course in FISTEC Institute, which is called Relationship, which is, I think, which explains my interest. And the third context is I'm really exploring now my personal relations and trying to shed some light on them and to understand who, what, and how my preferred relationship might be with. And as one of co-hosts of my relationship course said, this is so good that you signed up for this course because it's really a starting point of exploration for myself. And I thought, that it would be cool to talk to my friends who are also narrative practitioners and to talk about meaningful relations in their lives. So maybe I'll pass the word now to Elena. And maybe you can introduce yourself in relation to relations.
Yes, hello, I'm Lena, and I'm a narrative therapist. So for me, like, relationships are everywhere. So I look at everything through the relationships we make. And what can I say else? Also, I study dance movement therapy and somatic therapy, so I practice some of that stuff, and this gives me this embodied metaphor of relationships, like relationships as dance or as some composition in space. Yeah, that's it. And also we are waiting for Marat, who is a narrative therapist as well, and my husband. He will introduce himself. So yes, and we are kind of newborn parents because we have a little child. He is with us as well. So we have this like personal taste of relationships as well here. Yeah. So
Thank you. It's lovely. Andrei.
Yeah, hello, nice to meet you. Lovely to see Lena and Masha, and I don't know Greg and Steven, but nice to meet you too. My name is Andrei Pentin. I'm fairly enough narrative therapist, narrative practitioner, social worker, and trying to check if I'm narrative enough in this period because I'm under some influence of modernist metaphors, which maybe I will talk about myself later. And in relating to relationships, to relations, I think I'm exploring this context of my life constantly as a partner of family relationships, friendship relationships, and sometimes as a partner of romantic relationships, and some kind of relationships which are around this romantic discourse and maybe some kind of out of it. And as a professional, I work sometimes as a mediator with families, with kids, with partners of the business, which are having the relationships in their everyday business process. So for me, it's different to define myself out of relationships. I'm relating to it as I think everybody, a majority, and constantly, and that is what is shaping us. So it's good to have some experience of sharing with each other. Thank you, Masha and Storython, for inviting and for sharing this to all. So happy Relationship Saturday to all of us.
Yeah, thank you. I can see that Lena is related to Matvey. Yeah. Hi. This is so nice. Yeah, so we wanted to talk. Yeah, so we wanted to start with some metaphors because it seems that it is an easy way to start a conversation, and we're also narrative practitioners to some extent at different stages of our narrative development. And Liana started talking about her metaphor, and maybe Andrei, can you talk about your metaphor of a preferred relationship and of a relationship that is definitely not preferred, unwanted, not of your choice?
May I clarify just about metaphor, not about story behind, but about metaphor for now?
Yeah, let's start just with the metaphor.
Yeah. As I said, I think just considering that we are on the narrative community event, I will say that I'm under influence of some modernist metaphors, which can be very simple for everybody, but it's my experience and I'm under influence of these metaphors. So talking about relationship and preferred experiences, I will tell that I had experienced recently some kind of addictional and even, I don't like these words, sorry for saying this, but some kind of toxic and harmful relationships in the romantic context. So I think the metaphor of unpreferred is something like chemical addiction, and which have some physical influence on me, and this is the metaphor which I consider as unpreferred, very unpreferred. Hello, Marat. Nice to see you. So this is the metaphor I don't like, and I would like to have this in my experience just as a metaphor, and to say goodbye to the impacts this experience described in this metaphor had on me. And talking about preferred metaphor of preferred relationships, I will say that I don't have pretty good metaphor for this, because I think I haven't experienced really preferred relationships in the romantic context, in the not romantic, in the not like in partnership context, I will say pretty preferred. I think I'm moving there, and for now it's kind of mix of friendship in partnership with some flavor of as Lena said, dance, maybe romantic dance, but I haven't. This is a dream for me, which I hope I'm moving towards, but I'm not sure I had this in my life for now. So I think someday we will join together in the same context, and I will tell you that I had experienced preferred metaphor and will describe it in details as lived through. But for now, it's kind of a dream, but it feels that it can be true.
Okay, we agreed. So we hope that there will be another event like this in a year or in several months. So we'll talk more about the dance and density of dance. I can see that Marat joined us. Marat, can you please introduce yourself through your relations to relations?
Hi everyone. I'm glad to see you, and there are lots of participants. Hi there. Добрый день всем, кто говорит по-русски. It was in Russian. So, well, but I'm a narrative practitioner, and so I think the relationships are, well, I think relationship is the like leading or guiding metaphor in my everyday life. So I mean, relationships are a metaphor themselves. So I think I'm used to to talk with people. I'm used to living my life through relating to things and through thinking about relationships. And I think in some way it's dominant and the metaphor which has taken the lead in my mind. And I'm not sure that it's quite right. I think it's very important to see some alternatives. So I hope this conversation will help me to see what else can be there except for the relationships. So, hi there.
Thank you. Thank you. So we started talking about metaphors, and yeah, and so for you, relationship is a metaphor itself, a metaphor of a relationship.
Of anything. I mean, it's a matter of constructing our life. It's a way of dealing with problems, to change the relationships with them, and so on. So I'm very used to it, and I see this as a threat. I mean, if something is seen as a uh, as the only story, as the only way of thinking about things, I think it can hide something, and it can have some sort of, I don't know. Well, I think I'm clear, right?
Yeah, Liana, can you please talk a little bit more about your metaphor of dance, of preferred relationship as a dance?
Actually, I wanted to talk about a little bit different stuff.
Sure.
But it's difficult because now Marat told one more idea, and I feel like I have to relate.
Relate. I think, yeah, let's just move on. So the idea was, yeah, we had some ideas about the structure, but why don't we just move with each other? Yeah.
No, I'm trying to follow the structure, and the idea you had before our conversation was to speak about like preferred and non-preferred metaphors of relationships, and it's taken for granted a little bit when we talk about relationships that we mean romantic relationships, but of course it's a wider field. But if we speak about romantic relationships, I asked myself a question: what are the main metaphors in our modern culture for it? So I found two of them. The first one is like relationships and love, like immediate events. So I see someone and I like become in love, and I become like the whole, not the half. So, and from that moment, my life is totally different. And this is the first one, like love and relationships, like one magic event. And the second one is relationships like building, like something I need to work hard on, and to invest my time, my resources, my, I don't know, like work a lot. So these two metaphors I see like the most. Oh, I'm sorry. Can you please hold the chair? And these two are not preferred to me at all, because the first one, like gives this lack of agency to myself, because like it happens to me, I cannot do anything about it. And also it's a little bit like describes myself and our life as something stable. So I'm stable and my partner is stable, and once we met and fall in love, so we do not change anymore. And it is not true for me. So, and the second one is not preferred because it puts relationships like it's the main thing in life, which I don't think so. It's I have another values and another like aims to do. I don't want to work hard like on it and build my life around it. So, and then I asked myself, what metaphor do I prefer? And I didn't answer yet. So I'm in process. Yes, that's it. That what I wanted to say. Maybe I will.
Yeah. Thank you. Maybe I'll talk also about my metaphor, and then we kind of can relate to each other's metaphors. So my metaphor of unpreferred relationship, which is basically a relationship, is something. It's like a very gloomy and bubbly something like gloomy bubble, pretty shitty, which doesn't allow to see through it, which doesn't really allow to move a lot, and which is formed out of discourses, prejudices, all the ideas that exist and that are limiting, and also of all that past traumatic experiences. And I think it also kind of like sucks people in, and it's really hard to get out of it. And so this is what is definitely unpreferred. And I think I've experienced being inside, being outside, seeing people inside and outside. And the metaphor of preferred relations, it's like moving into a clear sea. It doesn't mean that the sea is not always calm. It can be rather stormy. It can be rather intense. It can be full of sharks and all types of sea animals. But at the same time, the sea is not a bubble, and something like that. So, and I think that if talking about some examples, and I would ask now maybe to tell a little story or to relate to each other's metaphors through stories. I'm seeing that to me, I think honesty is one of the ways to move a value which helps to move into a clear sea out of this shitty bubble. And I had this very interesting experience, which actually Andrei witnessed partly. I was doing a course on a relationship in his tech school, and at the same time I was together with Andrei, we were doing a course on leadership. And it was interesting to see how people came from very different contexts and talked about the same thing, about being honest, about how important it is to discuss things, to be clear about things with partners, whether in business or in personal relationship context. And it was interesting to see how different those people were, coming from very different backgrounds and very different practices, but united by one value. And I think to me now is practicing this honesty is something that is helping to move out of the bubble very, very, very slowly, day by day. And it is not easy. It is not at all easy, and I'm going through therapy now, and I have a wonderful therapist, and it's very interesting to be both a kind of like a course instructor, a teacher, and also a learner, explorer of this honesty as something that helps to move out of this bubble. Yeah. Maybe you can give a little bit of context around your metaphors, or relate to what other people said. Andrei, maybe you can say something.
Yeah, I had some thoughts before our meeting, but now after Liana, Marat, and you, Masha, were talking, I'm confused in the sense of I'm restructuring my narrative about what I wanted to say, and especially the words, Liana's words, happened to me, and about romantic relationships. I think I have some really habitual narrative about my traumatic story with some person with whom we had some in a dominant discourse called toxic and addictional relationships, as I described it in my first saying. But now I will say that under your in an influence of what you were talking, I will say that I remembered the metaphor I had during my relationships, which were really difficult for me. We worked together in one school with the person. We had some difficult relationships, and there is a series called where this adolescent series очень странные дела, very weird things. I don't remember the English.
Stranger Things.
Yeah, Stranger Things. Thank you. And I perceived the school where we met as the forest in the first season of this series, because we had very different experience in communicating at home, where we had some kind of romantic love, dedication to each other, respect, and some kind of very soft and nice relationships. Not soft and nice, but close. And then we met at work, and this person was communicating with me as with some stranger, with somebody who is not close, who is not a friend, who is an alien. And I remember that I was perceiving this context as the forest, where I can see the person, but I can touch him, I can connect to him. And I think this is much more authentic metaphor for me than that which I was announcing in my first saying as addiction and toxical thing. And I think I'm describing this as addiction and toxical under some dominant analytic discourses, which I'm kind of thinking and considering as useful for me now to overcome. But now, together with you and in the narrative field, I think I will say I concluded that that person was kind of having very traumatic experiences in childhood. Yeah, I'm glad that we're not offline, so you can't hit me and punish. Yeah. So I concluded this, and now I'm thinking that I can look at this as having a romantic relationships with several people in the body of one person. And I think there was at least one person which we loved each other, with whom we loved each other, maybe romantically, maybe truly. I'm not really good in differentiating where it's romantic or not, and dealing with this. But I think it moves me to do some remembering practice with that one person inside that body with whom we kind of had close relationships, but it still happened to me, as Lena said this phrase, and I think I would join and take this guide of looking for something which is not happening to me, but where is something I'm doing, I'm influencing. So I think this is the way between two big rocks, where one rock is romantic relationships, which is having something precious, something very very attractive for me, but I want to go aside this rock, maybe close to it, but near to the other rock where I am having much more sobriety. Yeah, is there any word like sobriety? Sobriety.
Yeah.
Sobriety. Yeah. So I don't know, is there any balance between sobriety and this romantic drunk conscious which I had during these relationships, but that the remembering of that one part of the person I was seeing, I think is one step of not like avoiding and forgetting, but to try to connect with something which was really influential, really precious and important for me, because I'm still having dreams like during sleep, and I'm in therapy too, and I didn't overcome this experience, but it was like 2 years ago, and I would like to forget this, not at least not to remember it while I'm dreaming, when I'm not choosing to think about it and feel this stuff. So besides reprocessing in EMDR, for example, I would like to remember what was important, integrate it, and then maybe somehow move on, because that was important, but I'm still having some future, I hope. But I feel weaker now. Before we met, but now I feel a little, better. Yeah, I will stop for now because it's limited time. So
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Lena. Marat, maybe you can relate to what Andrei was talking about, or maybe you can also, and say where it moves you, what it reminds you of, and what it invites you to. Is it possible?
Do you want to join?
Well, I have some thoughts, but not yet. If you have some,
okay,
can start.
okay, can start.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about two things now. The first one is the context we live here in Russia, for example, the most familiar for me. I think it's not very friendly for good relationships, because we don't have enough feminism, I think. Here is the first thing, and the second one is that we have a lot of difficult events in our Soviet past and in our political practices nowadays. So for me, it was very important when I started to notice these things, and I was studying narrative therapy, and I was trying to see the problem not in myself or not in my partner or not in our relationships, but somewhere in a context. And at the same time, we were marrying with Marat and trying to figure out how to live together and study narrative therapy. I think it was very important for me to see things this way, that the problem is not us, and how our political situation influences us. Because what is very common, I think, in Russia, it's from my point of view, what I see in myself or in my work with clients, that it's very easy to start to be very angry about something happening in relationships, or to be very closed and avoid difficult topics. and I connect it to some traumatic context we live in. So it's very important to find the ground on which to stay and have a dialogue. And there is very small pieces of safe ground in our modern life in Russia. So this is the first thing which was important for me. And the second thought is, when I was listening to you, Andrei, and you were speaking about these two rocks, like what is between them, and I was asking myself, what is the metaphor for me about preferred relationships? I think it's not a dance, but performance. So it's something I do and experience at the same time. So it's not love like happening to me, and not something like I imitate or I pretend to be. It's something like in the middle, something I do and become at the same time. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, thank you so much. I actually relate, yeah, to what all of you were saying. I really like the idea of remembering a part of a person, and remembering some identity in between multiple identities the person had. I think I've had many experiences like that, and I think it kind of like brings peace, brings a lot of peace and freedom, thinking about one identity that I did have or do have currently the preferred relationship with, and kind of like not yeah, I think it gives a lot of I think it makes things lighter. And I also relate a lot to what Lena was saying about the political context. I also think that yeah, that the past century and how it was going, and all the events that we went through that were kind of like not reconsidered, not really that didn't really receive a lot of light and recognition, and did not were not recognized as significantly traumatic, I would say, how they influence our lives. I remember we were doing a collab salon about our work with families who suffered from repressions in the 30s of the last century, and I could clearly see how how those things influenced my current relations. And it's just very interesting to see it, to see how politics affects us, though this politics kind of like was actualized some time ago. And also talking about this performance relationship as a performance, I have very interesting also personal experience lately. I was thinking about how to start dating, and it's kind of like really scary. But at the same time, I feel like I kind of like have to move there also for two reasons: for personal and also for professional, because I kind of like want to explore what's out there. And I was talking to my therapist actually this week, and we were discussing that, yeah, maybe see it as a performance, see dating as a performance, not as something total, something that can hurt me, something that kind of like takes all my identity and so on. And so what we did actually is we discovered some traces of this identity that I'd like to perform. And I'm actually meeting with two of my friends to kind of like further develop this performance. And one of them is a narrative practitioner and also an actor and a clown. So we will think about how to perform this identity traits into the dating. So I really appreciate that you mentioned it now, because this kind of like supports me into the things I'm planning to do pretty soon, I would say. So thank you for that. And it's interesting for me. Maybe you can also relate to what I'm saying, or also say what supports you towards when you are moving on your way towards these preferred relationships metaphors. What can you say about that? Who wants to say something? I think Marat hasn't been talking for a while. Let's have some Marat on.
I just our conversation has got me thinking about different things, and well, I can join your metaphors. I like this metaphor of multiple selves, and I think I'm very. It's not very easy to perceive things through this metaphor. It's hard for me to believe that in one body there is a whole community of different person, and so, but it helps a lot. So I'm just I think I first learned about this metaphor through reading of Kenneth Gergen, and then Jill Friedman used this metaphor of relational identity, and it helped me a lot. What I was thinking about just while holding Matvey was that I was thinking about how I change myself and how I enter this domain of becoming, and I thought that when I first met Matvey, I knew that he was a human being, but at the same time, I couldn't. Nothing was familiar, so I have never seen human beings acting like this or doing stuff like this, and not relating to me or to the world the same way that everyone else around was relating to the world, to world. So, and I think so he was a human, and he was not a human, or not human to me at the same time. So, and this thing, well, it kept me. At first, I was pretty confused, but then I just realized that this difference between us, it helped me to question my ways of describing personality or identity or human beings. So, and it helped me to, well, I would say to see that my way of thinking was colonized or by the dominant ways of thinking. Even though I was a narrative practitioner, I thought a lot of Cartesian subject and so on before that. So basically, Matvey helped me to sort of rethink the notion of human being, and by that, with the help of that, I was changing. So I was trying to believe that it's a human being, and this category of human being, it has, well, it became stretching. So it well, it now consists more than it used to consist a couple of months ago, and I think it's revolutionary thing to me, because well, I think I'm myself a different person now, and I think that it's another way. Maybe you can call it a metaphor. It's another way of becoming, and of sliding to another self. It's through thinking about what is human, and what this term can consist. And at the same time, I realized that that children, babies, are very marginalized in our society, in a way that we sort of by default we not include them in the category of like normal people, because they cannot talk, they cannot I don't know, relate to things like we do, and so on, and that sort of pushes us to make choices for them, and so on. So yeah, I think I'm being a bit in the ocean. Well, and one more thing, and it's connected with what I just said, that I was trying to remember the exact author. I will maybe add. I just don't remember the name. So, but there's an idea that well, it's a concept of being hospital or hospitality to strangeness, that keeps us going. And I think I'm very mystified and fascinated by this concept. And I think I'm trying to be open, and to be hospitable to the strangeness of Matvey, and through this I become someone else. Yeah. All right. Sorry that if that's been far from what we were discussing, but but our conversation gave me these thoughts. So I'm grateful. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Those are beautiful thoughts. Yeah, I was also thinking about. It was funny when you asked today whether it will be interesting to talk about parenting, and I responded no, because I'm kind of like really trying to explore now not the parenting identity of myself, which I have been exploring for a lot of time, but the things that you were talking about now are so beautiful, and I think they can relate to any relationship as well. This hospitality to strangeness, and also becoming someone else through this. I think I've experienced it a lot throughout the course that I was doing, because I think the more diverse people we had at the course, the safer it was for the students, and for us also as course hosts. And also I could see how people were changing throughout the course. Their language was changing because they were seeing people who were engaged in all kinds of practices which were very not typical, I would say, of what they are used to. And I could really see how this diversity, which is another word for actually strangeness, I would say, multiple strangenesses, is actually given so much freedom, and is truly transforming people. So this is just beautiful to me. This seems very beautiful. So thank you. Yeah, Andrei, can you add something to what Marat was saying and relate to that, or talk maybe a little bit more about yourself and what's supporting you towards on your way towards this preferred relations metaphor?
I'll try. I'm not sure I can. I'm have something kind of called the same as a narrative practice called double listening, but in another sense. I'm listening. I'm actually three, no, not double, triple, because I'm having one track of listening to what you're saying, and then some words moving me somewhere, and then I'm having third, like, shit, I want to listen to your story, not to think about what I'm moving where. So that's why I was wondering if we can rewatch the record afterwards. So I think there are some words which moved me towards some solutions, towards some hopes of solving my difficulties with my experience. And I think there were some words, performance, strangeness, and I think they moved me towards adding more playfulness to the context of relationships, especially those relationships which usually has some flavor and of romantic discourse and feeling of these romantic relationships, like which I was describing as chemical for me, as damaging my agency. So I think, and I'm remembering my that experience, it was full of drama, like drama, tears, like I was angry, I was hurting, like Santa Barbara. Yeah, definitely. So, but it was very serious for me. I'm still having dreams, as I said, and I was thinking, how can I put into this, okay, if it still will be romantic relationships, how can I put some playfulness and some calmness to this, some playfulness, something which will not be so dramatical, and how can I be sure that this is performance, which is not structured very well and not like predictable, but still playful and more light and less dramatical. And I think that these plural views and stories and thoughts of people whom I trust, because it's lucky that we're talking to each other, knowing each other a little bit, feeling each other a little bit, because I had plenty of support and impact from all three of you. So that's kind of I can think and a little think more, because I a little know more about myself in relationships with you. So I think this is a great opportunity to talk about something important and dramatic and past, but hopeful and maybe playful and maybe funny, even if it's still romantic and chemical and a little dramatic. But I like this genre of comedy, drama comedy. I think like real love. Yeah, I would like to be a hero of real love movie, even if it's not recorded. Yeah, but better than Santa Barbara and Stranger Things. So thank you for this hope which you are gifting. Yeah.
Thank you, Andrei. It's funny that you started talking about movies. I immediately also started talking about movies. I would be interested to hear a little bit more, maybe more from Lena. Can you somehow like relate to what was said, to what Andrei said, or Marat, or me?
Yeah, I think I will just reflect some words. I did. It was resonate with me your phrase. I'm sorry, I did not write it down, but how I remember it, it was like what identities I want to perform in these relationships. What I like, what my identities I want to bring into life in it. And what Marat said about hospitality and changing through the relationships with Matthew, with Matvey. And what Andrei said about playfulness for me is important as well, and give this lightness. I'm thinking about changes now, like what I was saying before, that for me, we are not stable, so it's not easy to stay together if we change it in like different ways, different directions. And sometimes for me it is difficult because I need to slow down in order to like bring my own changes into the relationships with the partner, or to see what's going on with partner and change with it as well. And at the same time, changes just happening because they like we cannot avoid it. Something happens. We need to somehow relate to it. So we're changing anyway. So what is important for me, like to like to know to myself that these changes are like going together and in some preferred directions. That's not easy for me, but to bring attention to it, like ask some questions for me. This is what I'm doing. This what is important for me to do. Yeah. Sorry, maybe a little bit like in the process. That's it.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, I think we're all processing something right now. Marat, can you also maybe say a couple of words where it takes you, like our conversation, because I think we will be slowly closing now. But we can say something.
Yeah. I think, I'm not sure that he's willing to, but but he's smiling. Well, well, I'm not sure that well, I think I have a lot of thoughts afterwards, and I like the comparison with movies and TV series, and yeah, I'm just maybe I'm thinking about the ways that can help us to keep on becoming, and with the I don't know, openness to each other, and with the with the как бы внимательность.
Attention.
Yeah, attention to the movements of one another, or to the person that keeps on becoming just beside us. So that's it. And I'm also interested how was this conversation to those who are listening. And Masha, will you tell a couple of words for yourself too?
Yeah. I think I'm really, I don't know, I feel a lot of warmth now. It was just really, I don't know, it felt so awkward from the beginning to start talking English to each other. But at the same time, probably you are both, like Andrei and Marat are the people who I had a lot of rather deep and sensitive conversations with, and I think less so with Lena, but I think we just had it right now. And it was just so meaningful and so pleasant to explore different contexts, because sometimes we were talking about professional things and then we were going personal, and I'm really glad that this conversation happened between us, because I think that it got so personal and I don't know, deep, because we are friends and we were engaged in different conversations before. And I'm thinking also, yeah, about all of the things that I will keep thinking about, the strangenesses, the performance, the playful, the becoming a different person, and also, yeah, the stretching the idea of a human, the context, all of those things. And I'm also thinking about TV series now, because I was watching a lot TV series, and specifically teens TV series, because I started working with teens. And I'm also thinking about how this TV series kind of like are moving me towards this clear waters that I was talking about, because I can see how all those things that we meet with as teens influence us in first lives. But at the same time, yeah, and that now we have so many options to kind of like, and so many ideas and concepts to play with, that we can really move forward to whatever our preferred state is. Yeah. So thank you so much. Thank you, Greg, for being with us. I know that it's like early. Is it early morning? Yeah.
It's pretty early. But
yeah. Is it like?
You guys make it very well worth it.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure. And yeah.
Really, like, you've given us so many different images and metaphors I just want to keep thinking about, and it was so beautiful to be let in on you all's relationships and your friendships. Like, so I really thank, just as much as the ideas and the thoughts and where it took you, thank you for that, just like letting us into your friendships and families.
Yeah, thank you for hosting us. Thank you for inviting. Yeah,
I look forward to a hopeful day where we can be hanging out in the same place again. So.
Yeah. Yeah. See you soon. See you. Thank you so much.